What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Weapon Collective. Once again, live from the Gat Cave, filming the next video. And before we get into today's agenda, I did want to take just a second to thank everybody that has been watching these videos, commenting, liking, sharing, and most importantly, subscribing. That is huge. I appreciate it. And speaking of comments, before we get into this, there were a few people that commented on the P365 fuse video, and they wanted to see the P365 fuse slide on the X Legion frame. So on the X Macro AXG Legion frame, and I told them I would put it at the beginning of my next video, and that is what you get when you take the slide from the fuse and put it on the all metal Legion frame. Looks really sharp, nice. And then so you have the opposite of that. You have the Legion, it's really the X Macro slide in that Legion gray on this P365 fuse grip module. And they both look really nice. Fun that you can just do that. That's the beauty of the SIG platform, really, with the 320 and the 365, is that it's just so modular. But there we have a look at both options. So per that subscriber's request, happy to show them that. For today's video, we are going to be looking at my Q guns. And Q is one of those companies, a little interesting. Some people are not fans, some people are huge fans. I'm somewhere in the middle. I like Q. I think they make an awesome product. And the Honey Badger is the gun that hooked me, of course. That's probably most people's experience with Q. But I think they make great silencers. I love the Honey Badger platform. And I think they're fun guns. They have a few little issues, I would say. But we'll get into that when we get to those guns. Some people obviously think they're priced way too high, and that very well may be true, but they are cool guns nonetheless. So let's take a look at my Q collection. So the first gun is going to be the Minifix. This is a bolt gun. It is clear. And so this is a 300 blackout pistol, and I have it configured with this LPVO, this Sig Sauer Tango 4 1-4. It's not the greatest optic that I've run as a LPVO, but it does the job. You know, I'm not with 300 blackout. It tends to be relatively closer shooting in general. And I've got a Trash Panda silencer from Q on there. And that's about it. This is pretty basic. And if I'm being totally honest, out of the Q guns, the Fix and the Minifix are not the guns that I shoot all that often. It does fold up into this nice, tidy little package. And you can imagine with that can off of there, it is very small. It is an 8-inch barrel. So you can fold that out and be ready to rock. It is a fun little gun. This is the Q Minifix in 300 blackout. Next, we will move on to the Fix, which is the full-size version of that little guy. And that is what the Q Fix looks like. This is in 308, and it has a 16-inch barrel, also has a Trash Panda can from Q on there. If you look at these two guns, I mean, one is significantly smaller than the other one. Of course, this one has an 8-inch barrel, this one has a 16-inch barrel, and I mean, it's hard to even fit on this screen, really. This has EOTech Voodoo 5-25 on there. I like these Voodoos from EOTech. They're cool, and that's in a Scalar Works Leap 193 mount. I really like those. It does have this Q kickstand bipod, which with the length of this gun, I'm going to be shooting from the prone position almost always. It is just too long. I mean, that is no CQB gun right here. It is lengthy. I prefer the short guns, the short barrel guns. So this is long, and it is in 308. So this is the gun that I shoot the least. I don't shoot 308 nearly as much as 5.56 or 300 blackout. But it's a cool gun. Obviously a bolt gun as well. This is the Q Fix. This gun, this is the one that started it all. This is the Q Honey Badger. Mostly I think it was a combination of the size and the aesthetic. So that clear anodized and gray just hooked me visually right away, along with the size and this cool brace. This is a pistol, so 7-inch barrel. And when I saw this thing, I was definitely kind of instantly obsessed with it at the time, which it is a super cool little package. No doubt about that. 300 blackout. You throw the trash panda on here and it is quiet if you're rocking subs. This thing will definitely be very close to hearing safe, although I wouldn't recommend that. But this thing is a fun, awesome looking little gun. The way the stock collapses in, and 300 blackout just being a super cool round. So I think this was my first 300 blackout gun. It was either that or a Noveske Ghetto Blaster. I can't remember, but I have this one, and I'm going to show you the one that I shoot, because if you notice, this is a perfectly virgin cherry bomb on here. So this gun has never been shot. And like I say, I was a little bit obsessed at the time. Probably wouldn't make the same decisions today, but I got the Honey Badger and loved it, shot it a lot, and figured, you know what? I'm going to get one that I keep absolutely pristine and just keep that for the collection. Now I'll show you the one that I actually shoot. And the gun that I got that made me get that gun that is just a pristine, safe queen is this Honey Badger. This is the one that I actually run. So clear. And this is also a Honey Badger pistol in 300 blackout. So same setup in 7-inch barrel. This one has this EOTech XPS3 configured for the 300 blackout on here, which is nice. This one also has the Geisley trigger, the mil-spec bolt carrier, and the pistol brace. I am running a Modlite PLH V2 18350, and I'm activating that with the Surefire SR07 pressure pad. And then lastly, I've got this is a Arisaka little hand stop on here. But cool little package, super small. And with this trash panda on there, when you're shooting subs, this thing is actually really quiet. I think the trash panda is a killer can. Even running it on 5.56, it does a good job. It's got a great tone, and the tapered mount on that cherry bomb, super easy. Dig it. This is the Honey Badger 300 blackout, the one that I actually shoot. I should probably mention, I shoot way more 5.56 than I do 300 blackout. So recently when Q announced that they were releasing the Honey Badger in 5.56, I was stoked and had to pick this guy up. That's clear. So this is the Honey Badger in 5.56. Gets a little longer. You get a 9.69 inch barrel on there. I've got the trash panda on here, and a Mod Light PLH-V2 that I'm running with the mod button from Mod Light. And these little cable clips I really like. These are from Emissary Development. And just one of those things that make cable management so nice and clean, out of the way. One of the little things that can make a big difference in setting up your rifle, your pistol in this case, but setting up your gun. And if you don't know about Emissary Development cable clips, check them out. They're sweet. They make a couple different versions of it, but I run them on almost anything that is M-LOK, and I'm running a light, which is most things. I also have these ScalarWorks Peak pop-up iron sights, which I absolutely love. I love the fixed Peak iron sights, but they were fixed, so having the option to be able to just fold those down and out of the way is nice. I'm also running this BCM CAG grip up here. I've got this Haley Strategic Thorntail QD mount for the sling, and then I am also running an Aimpoint T2 on the Unity Fast Riser mount, which I really do like those. So when you get into the 5.56 version, and maybe it's just that it's new, I haven't looked for a while, but they're probably putting this Q two-piece bolt carrier in all of their 300 blackout gun as well. I would assume so. And it has Q's trigger, the greatest trigger ever made, I think they call it, or something close to that, greatest trigger on earth or something. But it's a nice two-stage trigger. I like it. And Raptor charging handle, branded in Q. And that is the setup on this guy. Really dig the 5.56 Honey Badger. Like I said, it is a pistol. I have done a Form 1 on this, but everything of mine at the ATF is going super slow right now. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of fun. So hopefully this will be an SBR before long. Next up, we do have an SBR. This is a 2-stamp gun. So we got the SBR'd Honey Badger SD. So this one is running the Honey Badger can from Q. Same 7-inch barrel on this, except they extend it out. This handguard they extend out. And these are the ScalarWorks Peak iron sights on this as well, running the Mod Light PLH-V2 with the SR07 pressure pad. And my issue with this gun is the clearance between the handguard and that can is almost non-existent, which makes all this M-LOK worthless. So you have to find systems that can defeat that. And, you know, not to mention the heat involved in shooting this gun, because you're basically holding the suppressor if you hold it like you would hold any other gun. I love this gun, and it's almost unshootable for any extended period of time. But it's got the cool factor to it, that's for sure. But it boggles the mind as to how they ran that can under that handguard. Like I said, so you have to figure out ways to mount the light. So I'm using this Arisaka Picatinny, 1913 Picatinny mount that uses that top 1913 rail, and then mounting the light on the side. Back here, I can mount this QD. This is from Feral Concepts. These M-LOK back here are actually usable, but once you get to about here, halfway up, they're totally worthless. It is an interesting little gun, one of those love-hate relationships, but it does have the mil-spec bolt carrier, the Geisley trigger, and that would be, oh, and this is a Slate Black Industries hand stop right here. I like those for the small, low profile. They're nice, but that's my issues with this gun, but I love this gun still. It's one of those weird emotional dichotomies of the love-hate relationship with some of these things. Like, Q, why did you do this? And thank you for doing this, because I love this SBR SD, but maybe you could make a handguard a little bigger. Probably my guess would be the weight, because the Honey Badger is all about being one of the lightest, smallest little guns, so they're sticking with that. But it is odd that you can't even, I mean, unless you're doing this grip, it's a hard to shoot much more than a mag with this thing. Cool gun. I got a Unity fast riser mount and an aim point comp M5 on there as well. But that's my rant on this gun. But this is the Q Honey Badger SD. Okay, while we're talking about SDs and issues within that platform, let's look at the Sugar Weasel SD, because this thing has basically the same rail and can on it, which you run into the same issues of this M-lock being worthless up here and just getting far too hot to hold the gun up there. Q markets this as, and this is Q's words, not mine, this is marketed as the poor man's Honey Badger. Because what they do is they still give it that clear anodized look in the gray. The upper receiver is different. It isn't milled like the Honey Badger is. And the lower receiver is just a mil-spec AR-15 lower. You lose the fancy brace on the Honey Badger and just get the buffer tube with the pistol brace on this. And looks the same, but for all intents and purposes, this is just your average AR-15 in 300 blackout. Fun gun though, cool. I've got a Vortex Razor Gen 3 1-10 on there. And other than that, I haven't really done anything to this gun. This is the Q Sugar Weasel SD. Okay, then we get into a gun that honestly, I haven't even shot this gun yet, but this is the Q Sugar Weasel in 5.56. I just had to get a 5.56 one because I shoot much more 5.56 than I do 300 blackout. So, like, this has the same situation. It's not an SD. This is a 16-inch barrel on this. When you run a can on here, you know, if I go to put this on here, you're getting very lengthy. I would put it on if I'm shooting, particularly 5.56. It takes the edge off, makes it far less obnoxious. But since this is not one of the guns that I shoot, I haven't done all that much to it. I dropped a Vortex Strike Eagle on here, 1-8 in their Unity scope mount. And other than that, this is newer, so it does have just a mil-spec bolt carrier, but it does have their best trigger ever made from Q. I've got a Surefire Scout light on there that I'm running with a Mod Light mod button. Cherry Bomb, of course. I don't even know who makes this hand stop. I'm not sold on it totally, but it does the job. And then just your mil-spec buffer tube and a Magpul buttstock. Was this the SL, I think? I don't even remember. This gun gave me an idea. I'm gonna build my own version of that. So I got this, which I've kind of just pieced together, that is a Sugar Weasel upper. It's a 13-inch barrel with the handguard from Q. Then I bought this SLR lower because that was one of the ones that was clear anodized that I could find. And built it into this, which is basically a Sugar Weasel in 13-inch gun, which I like this better than the actual Sugar Weasel, personally. It's as close as I could come. And then I dropped a Comp M4 from Aimpoint on there, on this Unity mount, which to be honest, the jury is still out on this thing. I don't have enough reps with it. But the CAD grip from BCM, and then I'm running a Mod Light PLH V2 with the Surefire SR07 pressure pad. And this one has the Honey Badger on it. And this is just kind of the do-it-yourself Sugar Weasel. And in some ways, I would say I think this thing looks better than the Sugar Weasel. I like some aspects of it. I really dig SLR Rifle Works. If you're not familiar with SLR, go check them out. So that's my Q collection. If you're not familiar with Q, maybe you saw something that will pique your interest enough to go and check them out. They do make some cool stuff, but make your own mind up. Maybe you like them, maybe you don't. But I did want to just touch on one thing real quick, and that would be that I know I'm back down in the Gat Cave where I've filmed all my videos thus far, and I am going to get out on the range. I actually went to the range the other day and tried to film, and it was so windy that I just called it. Maybe I'll cut in a little footage from that day and you can see for yourself. But so like I said, we're out here, not the best lighting because I gotta prop this thing up, this tripod, so it won't blow over in this wind. You can hear me? Ooh. But I am gonna get out on the range and show some of these guns in action because I don't want to just do all my videos from down here. That's not fun for anyone. We want to see some of these guns running. I do appreciate you watching these videos. Please hit that like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. And I will catch you next time. I'm Jeff for the Weapon Collective, reminding you to keep your weapons collected and keep collecting your weapons. I'll catch you next time.